Our tour is a developmental tour that provides an opportunity for our players to reach their goal of making it to the PGA Tour. And since we started the Mackenzie Tour, PGA Tour Canada in 2013, we've had 41 players that have made it to the PGA Tour. And of the 41 players that have made it, we've had 7 victories, including C.T. Pan, who actually won here in 2015. Along with a couple of Canadians that you may recognize their names, Mackenzie Hughes from Dundas, Ontario, and Corey Connors from Listowel, Ontario. So we're pretty proud of that number. We've had another 285 players that have made it to the Corn Ferry Tour, which is essentially the way to make it to the PGA Tour. One of the other pillars of the PGA Tour, and in particular the Mackenzie Tour, is really all about charity. And you may have seen this week the PGA Tour surpassed the $3 billion mark. That's $3 billion with a B for charities across all of our tours. And the Mackenzie Tour played a small part in that with $5 million has been raised since we started the tour in 2013. And Adam will touch on the impact and the charity dollars that have been raised here in Winnipeg in a moment. With that, our special announcement, we actually have a couple here today, but first and foremost, I'd like to call Adam up, if you don't mind, and we're going to unveil the plans for the future of this event, and you'll see what I mean when we open up here.
Thank you, Scott, for the introduction. As you can see, we have a couple of really exciting announcements here today. First off being that we are going to brand the event back to its original name, Manitoba Open. It's an exciting day for golf in Manitoba, and it's an exciting day for Manitoba in general. As you know, the Manitoba Open has a very, very rich history. Past champions include multiple winners: George Knudson, Mo Norman, Dan Halderson, Dave Barr. And who can forget 1996, my high school golf teammate, Rob McMillan, winning at Pine Ridge with massive crowds as an amateur. We can go on and on about the past histories of the champions, but we want to brand the event to bring some of that history back into the event and get those crowds watching some of the best players in the world and some of the best Manitoba players in the world. The Provincial Golf Championship began, as I mentioned, in 1919 until 1997. Since then, the event has had several names, including the MTS Classic, Free Press Manitoba Classic, Canadian Tour Players Cup, and recently the Players Cup, a part of the Mackenzie Tour, PGA Tour Canada. As Scott alluded to, the Manitoba Open will still be a part of the Mackenzie Tour, PGA Tour of Canada. We are very excited to get back into the roots of the golf tournament and bring the history back to the event. As you're aware, we have sponsors exemptions at each event every year. In the last couple of years, it's a mandate for us to start working with the True North family and inviting Winnipeg Jets players to participate in the event. 2 years ago was Mark Scheifele, and last year was Kyle Connor. If you think there's a lot of pressure, Josh, in these events, I'm going to give you an example of Mark Scheifele, who teed off in the first hole 2 years ago. I greeted him at the first tee, and he looked a little bit nervous. I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "I'm more nervous right now than in Game 7 in the playoffs." I said, "Well, if I can give you a simple hint," I said, "just make sure you take a couple of deep breaths before you tee off. That'll help calm the nerves, and just, hold your finish." And he goes, "Sounds good." So he goes, tees off, hits one down the right side, fairly good. He comes back and he goes, "I forgot to breathe. I almost blacked out." So, in Kyle Connor, the same thing, lots of pressure in the event, but they both represented the event very, very well. We do a kids camp every year with the event. They sign autographs, help the kids out on the range, and just treat every fan that comes to the event with very much respect. So this year, we're really looking forward to introducing the assistant captain of the Winnipeg Jets, number 44, Josh Morrissey, to come play in this year's Manitoba Open. Josh is one of the NHL's most respected men, and his leadership skills were recognized this season, being named assistant captain. Josh is actively involved in helping disadvantaged youth through his volunteer work with the Dream Factory, various programs with the True North Foundation, and much more. We were thrilled to have Josh as a participant in the 2020 Manitoba Open, and we know that his goals, that he told me moments ago, are to better the scores of Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. So we'll hold them to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. We'll hear from Josh at the end. We're going to do a little Q&A with Josh, so you can stick around for that. And then just a bit of housekeeping. We'll do one-on-ones after we have a little Q&A with Josh. The golf tournament wouldn't be possible without having a golf course to play on, and as many of you know, Southwood has a storied history with the Manitoba Open. More recently, the last couple of years, we've been out Southwood, and from a tour perspective, it's provided a formidable test for our players, including last year. It was the toughest golf course that our players played all year, and 14 under was the winning score, which some of you may say, well, actually that's pretty low, but if you follow our tour closely enough, you know that every week these guys are going very, very low. In fact, a couple of times this year we had a 27 and a 28 under, so 14 under is quite the score. Not only that, the staff and employees and Jeff and the board members do a great job of welcoming our players, feeding them every day, and really providing an experience that they don't have anywhere else on tour. So we really appreciate that, and I'd like to call up Jeff Scott to say a few words on behalf of Southwood. Just going to stand here. Actually, I'm going to move.
Morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be up here on behalf of the management team and the staff, and of course all the members of the board and the tournament committee. Some of them are here today supporting this event. Southwood has a long and illustrious history with the Manitoba Open since its inception in 1919, and we're honored to continue that in 2020, hosting for the third time in a row. That involvement affords us the opportunity to build on our experience, offer a phenomenal event. We're very excited about the name change, and also Josh's playing in this year's event, and also the later on the announcement, further announcements that'll come that are very exciting, moving the event forward. When the club moved to its new location, it was built in 2011 for the enjoyment of the members, but it was also built to host championship events. Consideration was given to providing parking on site, hospitality tents, and of course viewing areas to accommodate the fans. It has been very gratifying to hear all the complimentary and positive comments from the tour officials, the fans, but most especially from the players, who rave about the quality and condition of the golf course, the practice facilities, and the hospitality they receive from the many volunteers, again, some of who are here today. It has been truly inspiring to be part of the journey for these professionals as they work to progress to the PGA Tour. Case in point is the 2018 champion, Tyler Mccumber, who within a year of winning at Southwood was on the big tour, and last Saturday had the opportunity to play head-to-head against with Tiger Woods in the Saturday pairing. Southwood is very much looking forward to hosting again this year and putting on a phenomenal event as we make it bigger and better, and we look forward to seeing everybody out there in August. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, charity is an extremely important element of every one of our events, and it's really the fabric that makes up our events and the PGA Tour. I'm pleased to bring Adam Boga back up again to make a special announcement regarding a new charitable partner.
We are very excited to make our last announcement this morning. Over the past few years, our tournament has provided over $100,000 per year to charitable foundations and for good causes in Manitoba, and we want to continue this trend going forward. Our committees got together and we decided and to talk to what would be the best charity going forward for this event, and we are proud to announce that the True North Youth Foundation will be our new charity going forward for the Manitoba Open. With the True North Foundation on board, we are pleased to have a partner that shares our belief that sports such as golf and hockey have the ability to offer outstanding role models for youth on humility, honesty, work ethic, and continuous commitment to improve. In the past 2 years, the Players' Cup has started this involvement with the youth, and now with True North being on board, it's only going to enhance that commitment to giving back to the youth in our community. The True North Foundation has become one of the most respected and successful organizations in Manitoba, and we are humbled and grateful to work closely with them in 2020 and beyond. We look forward to providing their program participants and additional resources and volunteer opportunities, and we'd like to thank Mr. Mark Chipman and Mr. Dwayne Green for their support and letting us work with them. At this time, I'd like to introduce Executive Director Dwayne Green.
Well, first, I'm kind of feeling underdressed. Former teacher, I always go back to like the theme, so I thought I'd wear a golf shirt for the foundation, but the next time I'll rock a suit jacket. I just want to thank Scott and the Mackenzie Tour for including us this year, to Adam, Jeff, and Neil for choosing us as their charity of choice. We're really humbled to be involved and to be selected, and I think it speaks volumes to the character, not only of the tour, but to the Manitoba Open, to the fact that they give back, use these premier events to give back to the communities in which they play. So I just want to say thanks to all of you for doing that. Hockey and golf have seemed to be tied together for many years, and we see this opportunity as a way to be able to create some really unique events to raise some funds and put those towards the programs that we're involved in. And we see the charitable endeavors being allocated to Project 11 and Camp Manitou. Camp Manitou is a camp that we took over in 2014, and we'll have close to 19,000 youth come through camp this year, and we think that bringing golf as one of our activities to camp and introducing youth to the wonderful game is something we can do with this opportunity, as well as maybe bring some of the players from the Mackenzie Tour out to camp the week of the Manitoba Open and let them experience what it's like to spend a day of outdoor activities at Camp Manitou. I'd say the real strong tie we also see is our Project 11, and I think that anyone involved in golf can say the mental wellness strategies needed in golf, and to be at that highest level, it's a natural fit for us to be able to use funds from this to enhance our program of Project 11. We bring mental health coping strategies to over 30,000 youth across the province of Manitoba, and we see this as a great fit to be able to talk to some of the players and use this event as a way to showcase what some of those strategies and coping skills can really do and help you succeed in life. I also want to thank Josh for joining the event. I don't think I need to remind anybody how dedicated he is to our community and giving back to the less fortunate. We're really lucky to have Josh amongst our province and our community and on our team. So, Josh, thank you very much for agreeing to join. So, again, I just want to thank everybody, and we're really excited to be able to create some really unique events and ways to showcase the premier golf that's going to be there and bring maybe some new fans to the game. And again, just thank you everybody for including us in this premier event for watching live golf in our province. Thanks.
Thanks, Dwayne. Really appreciate it. Now we'll get to the hard-hitting stuff with our friend Josh here. Test. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to throw you a softball to start here. Just for everyone that may not know, describe your golf game for everyone.
It's definitely it's good and bad. There's good holes and bad holes, but for me, like many hockey players, I just find, obviously the seasons work well. And I love being outside. I love being on the course, and it's a game that you can always be improving at. There's always things you can work on, and my golf game could use some work.
Tell us, what are you most excited for in terms of playing in the Manitoba Open on the Mackenzie Tour?
Well, it's just such a huge honor. I mean, to have this opportunity to, use a sponsor's exemption and play amongst such amazing players. I think before we heard some of the names that have come through the Canadian Tour and played in CT Pan a few years ago, winning this same event. So it's something that's a huge honor. I think it's something that I think I'll be able to learn a lot from, and It's another experience that just doesn't come around very often. So as soon as I was made aware that it was an opportunity for me, I was very humbled and honored, but excited too. I mean, I love the game of golf, and I've had the opportunity to stand sort of outside the ropes at a few PGA Tour events, and to be inside will be probably a lot more stressful, but I'm just really looking forward to it, and going to try and do my best.
So speaking of stressful, have you talked to Kyle or Mark to get any insight from those two gentlemen?
I definitely have had the chance to talk to both of them. They said that the first tee shot's pretty nerve-wracking, and those 2-3 foot putts seem a lot harder to make than when you're playing with your buddies back home. But they just both said it was an unbelievable experience, and something that again, it's such a rarity to be able to have that opportunity. And even they spoke about interacting with some of the other players and sort of learning about what every day looks like as a golfer, and the grinds and the difficulties in the schedule that these players deal with. So they said it was just all in all an amazing experience, and I definitely know what their scores were, and I'm going to try to do better than them.
Good. So you're from Calgary. How did you get introduced to the game?
Yeah, I think my dad played golf and still does. I wasn't somebody who spent a lot of time at the golf course growing up. I'd say probably I really didn't take the game up until I was 16, 17 full time, and started playing a lot more in the summer. But obviously the seasons are so conducive to one another, and I just love being outside. You have the opportunity to put your time in and your work in at the rink or in the gym in the mornings during the summer, and then have the opportunity to kind of switch gears and be outside, enjoy the sunlight and warm weather or cold weather depending on the day. But just be on the course, and I've met so many great people through golf at the course that I play at back home, and it's a game that you can play from the time you're 5-6 years old till I know people that are 80 years old still swinging the club. So it's just such a great game, I think, and for me it's one that I love to play, and I really enjoy the difficulties of always trying to improve and working on something.
Awesome. Okay, this is the last question. This is a tough one, all right? Out of all your teammates, who is the guy that should never get an exemption into a Mackenzie Tour event?
That is a tough question. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus right off the top of my head, but I mean,
Maybe not on your team. Maybe let's go to another team.
I mean, last year, I'm not going to drop the name to embarrass the guy, but he'd never played golf before, and we went out to play around, and I don't think he quite knew how difficult it would be, and it was in the group in front of us, and I think 3 holes in, we saw a cart driving towards us, and we were wondering where this guy was going, and 3 holes was it. He was done. He was shutting it down and going home. So it's definitely a tough game, and it just goes to show, I mean, you can always improve, and it's never easy.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Josh. Really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing how you guys do towards the end of the season here in hockey, and then get practicing. And if you need any advice, I'm sure Adam can set you up. And we actually have a couple players that are based in Calgary, so we may be able to get you some guys to help you out, prepare before you come to play in the event. So again, thank you. And
thank you very much.
Thanks to all the media for coming out today. We really appreciate it. We're excited about the future of the event. And with that, I'll close the formal press conference. We'll do one.